Welcome back to Whiskey Whims with me, Stuart. Today I'm going to go through some whiskies, we'll call it a top 5. Top 5 whiskies that I like to drink during summer. It's not these specific whiskies either, it's pretty much these kind of styles, if you will. And the reason that I'm going through it is because the UK is currently experiencing a heat wave and Scotland's absolutely melting. It's like that Total Recall scene where they go outside in Mars and their face explodes. That's how hot it is. Like sometimes I'm just cutting about in the garden and I feel like my face could explode. That's a bit dramatic, but yeah, a lot of people say like whiskey isn't a summer's drink, or I like to drink rum in summer, and just no. You can drink whiskey anytime. I mean, I do tend to drink fewer amounts of whiskey in the summer. I do drink more in the kind of winter or autumnal season. However, like I do love a dram out the back when it's sunny. So I'm going to go through some. I said top 5, but technically it's kind of 4 because I'm kind of cheating with these two here. But anyway, the first two are these grain whiskies. Now, the reason I've got grain whiskey is because I'm not the biggest fan of bourbon. I mean, I don't have a lot of bourbon. I think I've got one Eagle Rare, just solitary Eagle Rare, just sitting in the barrel. And this kind of gives me, I suppose, that bourbon sense, I would say. Oh, yeah. But anyway, the reason I like grain during summer is just because it's a little bit lighter. It's a little bit more kind of cream soda, vanilla. And like I said, just a little bit lighter, a little bit less offensive, or no, I don't think that's the right. I think lighter is just the right word.
Right.
So these are perfect. This is 52.3% ABV, and the Seven Sons is 46.1% ABV. And these are the only grains that I have currently, and they're both open. And they're both fantastic in their own rights. I do slightly prefer the is it the Invergordon? The Invergordon to North British, but they're both good enough in their own right. And honestly, these are great for sitting out the back. They're good. They're good with a cigar. That is one thing I think grain really stands up to, is a cigar. Hold on while I sip my coffee. I don't tend to enjoy, I mean, I will have a cigar with a scotch, with a whiskey, but I feel like they ruin each other. I don't think they're very complementary. I know Dalmore and Tamdhu and other distilleries have done this kind of cigar malt to try and make them complement each other, but I think they're quite opposing. There's maybe more of a, it's more of a kind of scene, if you will. I don't think scene's the right word, but more of a kind of accepted thing that someone would have a cigar and a whiskey together.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
When you think of a whiskey drinker or a cigar smoker, they're synonymous with each other, but I don't really think they are in my experience, in my opinion. However, grain tends to work for me with a cigar, so that's why I like grain during the summer. And if I'm not having the cigar and if I'm just having whiskey, my other real go-to for summer whiskey is Daft Mill. Like, I think Daft Mill, more the 46% stuff, I will say that more the lower ABV. This is 56.3. This is one of the 5 strengths that I've had open. And I obviously love Daft Mill. I think Daft Mill's great. I've said that time and time again. But I think it's a great summer dram. It's just when our garden's done up, usually my wife does the garden, when all the flowers are potted, everything's trimmed, everything's nice and pretty, it's quite picturesque. There's nothing better than a Daft Mill for some reason. That just ties in with that scene, the floralness of it. I don't know why, but just sitting out the back with a Daft Mill is great. Not the most accessible thing, so the other whiskey that I want to talk about, I probably maybe should have said top 5 like distilleries to drink during the summer, but I think top 5 whiskies for me because of what I've got. So Daft Mill's fantastic in the summer, My other, I'm not going to say go-to because I don't have a lot of this distillery. I might only have 2 bottles of it, possibly 1 currently open. But what is fantastic in the summer is Fettercairn. It's tropical, fruity. Obviously, you get those kind of pineapple cubes. You get a lot of tropical fruits. So yeah, I think Fettercairn's pretty easy in the summer. This is it's a warehouse collection from AD Rattery. I can't remember if this is like the Cask Ends kind of series where they have the remnants of a cask and they just bottle it for quite cheap. But this was cheap anyway. I have reviewed it. I'm pretty sure I've reviewed all these, so I'll put links for them. I prefer it naked. I just realised how long that black bit's been on. I actually prefer it off. Anyway, that's a bit of a tangent. So it's matured in bourbon. That's another thing you might notice. I don't think any of these are got sherry influence. I think bourbon's just crisper to the summer. It just suits it better. I'm not really, I mean, some sherry you can maybe get away with, but I think sherry for me is more autumnal and more winter. But anyhow, so this Fettercairn I've had for quite a while. As I said, I've reviewed it, but during this kind of summer period, I've really this has been hitting the spot. I've been choosing this over the others, primarily because I've not drunk a lot of it since the review, and so I'm trying to get through a bit more of it and just kill it off generally, just so I can make space. But it is a pretty fantastic whiskey. Fantastic. I'm always quite hesitant with the big adjectives because it's not my style, but it's a good whiskey. There's something floating in it, probably a bit of cork. It's a good whiskey and it's great for the summer and out the back. And that actually, Fettercairn, because it's Fettercairn, and I feel Fettercairn's quite a, I wouldn't necessarily say it's like got bold flavours. It can be quite soft. I actually like this with a lighter cigar, like quite a light, or maybe even like a shorter cigar, even like a cafe creme or something, like a cigarello, is that what you call them? I could have one of these with that, and I think it doesn't oppose it too much. My final, I'm going to have a little drink of coffee again. My final summer dram is a dram or a whiskey that I have had for ages. Now, this is a whiskey that I bought. I believe I bought it because of Ryan. I'm pretty sure Ryan, 8 Doors Distillery Manager, mate, Tabes, Patreon. He's probably got other titles as well, husband, father. But I'm pretty sure I bought this off the back of Ryan's recommendation, or I bought it roughly about the same time. And I've had this bottle for ages, and it is honestly one of my favourite whiskies. Not for like blow your mind off amazing whiskey, like it's not going to change your world, but it's just, there's a connection I have to this whiskey and it's just fantastic. Like, it is just a superb whiskey. It's tasty, it was relatively affordable, I think it was like £60 or something, or maybe cheaper, and it was quite readily available, and it's just easy, and I'm struggling to kill it off for that reason. It sits in the barrel and I don't want to kill it off, but I have been having it during the summer period, especially watching the football at night, when it's still quite hot. It is, even in Scotland, it's still been quite hot in the house at night, and this just hits the spot. It's this Dalyuen. Now it can be any Dalyuen, because Dalyuen I feel as well, Dalyuen specifically in bourbon is a good summer whiskey. In sherry, yeah, you can have it whenever, but the Dalyuen in bourbon, and this is just an absolute banger. Like, I've got a fair amount of it left. I am contemplating, because it's probably getting a lot of auction, I'm contemplating putting it into this smaller Cadenheads bottle. But this is just, I will be getting this on the auction again, or try to find this in the auction again, because I'm not gonna lie, it's fantastic. I'm happy using that adjective, the bold adjective, for something like this, because it's just great. And I've reviewed that as well. So yeah, that's my summer kind of whiskies. For people who say that whiskies are not a summer drink, that they're wrong. There's plenty. I don't have a lot of rum finished whiskey in my collection at the moment. I do like a rum finish whiskey, but even like that during summer, a rum finish whiskey can hit the spot. But I primarily stick to bourbon, and yeah, grain's pretty good. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I've been Stuart, this has been Whiskey Whim. I'll see you later. And we're going to just pour this now. This will be like an off cut. I should really get a label as well. I won't spill any of it. Will it fill it? Yeah. Oh, I could have a dram in this later. Oh no, it's going to fill it. That'll do it. Brilliant. Now I've got a little bottle of that for later. Sweet. Oh God, that's good.